NCAA basketball totals for Sunday, January 8th. For you new guys, this is a segment where we look at totals set by odds makers and we try to beat that line either going over or under that total that the sports books have set. We also have the segment, same concept in NBA basketball we do on a daily basis. And we're doing that one live right now on the Facebook page a few hours before the first tip of most games throughout the week. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one. Share the videos, YouTube page. Be sure to check that out. We also have, of course, sbrpicks.com, a lot of free picks, write-ups, articles, Sportsbook review. We got a huge forum there. Sign-up bonuses, blacklist. It's all there. Be sure to check out Sportsbook review. And let's dive into some totals. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. We got NCAA basketball totals. First game up, we got Wisconsin and Purdue. Oddsmakers have it at 138. And I'm going under. That's going to be a really, really good matchup of two of arguably the best teams in the Big Ten, in Purdue and Wisconsin. This is going to be a good matchup. And the reason why I like under the 138 in this one is this is the lowest total odds makers have set for Purdue, the home team, this season. They haven't seen a total this low. Now, when they match up with Wisconsin, we have seen totals like this, but not when Bo Ryan was coaching Wisconsin. It was always lower, of course, but that's because they ran at a much slower pace. And then back, a while back, the shot clock was different. But recently the odds for the totals between these two have been, 140, 138, 131, around those sort of areas. But these are two teams that can really play some defense, and this is an important game. I like for it to stay under the total. Let's look at these defensive numbers here. You got Purdue allowing just 66 points per game, and they like to get up and down a little bit, so that's not a lot of points. Wisconsin, they're allowing just 59.4. That ranks 8th in NCAA basketball. Some really conflicting issues here with these two teams. So who's going to step up? I think it's going to be the defenses because percentage-wise, they're both solid. You got Purdue allowing just 40.3% overall. You got Wisconsin allowing under 40% shooting from the floor. Purdue moves the ball tremendously. Matt Painter, he gets a bad rap, but he is a really good basketball coach. I mean, right now they're averaging 19.8 assists per game. They're ranked second in the country. But guess who ranks second in the country in defending assists? Wisconsin. They're allowing just 8.5. So that's a point of contention tonight. Across the board, you're talking about two of the best teams, not only in the Big Ten, but are two of the best teams in the country here. So it's going to be a really good battle. But I think the defenses are going to come to play. Earlier Sunday game, I don't think they're going to get up and down. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to back under the total with these two well-coached defensive teams here, Wisconsin, Purdue, under the 138. All right, next one up, we got a Stanford, UCLA. Kind of a similar reason to go ahead and back over the total of 160.5. So we're going over on this 160.5. Make sure I say that right, with Stanford and UCLA. Now, UCLA, 160, that's nothing for them. The way they've been going this year, they've been going crazy fast. I'm flabbergasted. It's so amazing when you dig into the stats of the history and some of the way this works out with the numbers. Stanford and UCLA, I have stats all the way back to 98. They have never had a total set this high between those two teams. Never had a total set this high. That's amazing. But it makes sense this year. And this year there's been a lot of really high-scoring affairs. So odds makers are now, it's January, but they caught on pretty quickly. There's a lot of high-scoring games, and I think we're going to see that tonight. Now, Stanford didn't score that much and were pretty non-efficient versus USC. But USC plays a little bit better defense than UCLA, in my opinion, and they don't go quite as fast, and they're not as athletic. That USC team, they could be good in the future. This is UCLA's year, though. Very, very solid team across the board. 160.5, I think they get there because UCLA is going to control the tempo, and their scoring is out of this world. Let's talk about Stanford first real quick. They're averaging 67.4 points per game. That's not great, and they're shooting just 42.2% from the field. Also, not great. Their tempo is not that fast. But UCLA forces you into so much tempo, and they're not playing tremendous defense. UCLA right now, they're second in the country, 93 points per game. They're first in assists. They're first in overall shooting percentage. They're fourth in shooting percentage from distance. They're ridiculous. They're going to light up the scoreboard. Stanford's not that great defensively. UCLA on the other side of the ball, not bad. Opponents are shooting just over 40%, about 41%, against them. But just that tempo. They really love to get up and down the floor. They get up 64 attempts per game. They allow over 67. So we're talking about UCLA, of course. I think Stanford, after losing USC, they might have a little bit of a comeback, kind of be kind of, want to get up and down the floor with UCLA. So I'm going to go back over that 160.5. It looks like a lot, but again, it's one of those situations where it's kind of, we're just going against what we're basically trying to be on the odds maker side, where they've never set a total this high. So let's go ahead and take a shot on over the total. I think that's a smart play to go with this one. It looks really high, but because Stanford, you kind of need two teams to go in this sort of situation. But I think Stanford's got enough to go ahead and help UCLA get over this total. All right, last one up, we got Wake Forest and Virginia. Odds makers have it at 131.5. And I'm going over this total. Now, on the year, Virginia, well, since Bennett's taken over, they're really an under team. Wake Forest with Danny Manning, they're more of an over team. I mean, they do push some tempo. Right now, they're averaging 80.9 points per game. That's pretty good for Wake Forest. Now, Virginia, we look at them, they're over and unders. They've mostly been under this year, and the odds makers have set their totals quite low. Earlier in the year, they had a couple totals decently high. For them, this is high. Anything over 130 is high. So this 131.5, I'm going to go over, though, because although Virginia is a tremendous defensive team and arguably the best defensive team in the country, Wake Forest has enough to help get over this total. And Virginia can really shoot the ball. Right now, they're shooting 49.4% from the floor. That ranks 14th in the country, 39% from distance. They rank in the top 50 and then the top 20 in shooting efficiency and effective field goal percentage, respectively. They're just solid across the board. They're going to play that pack line defense. I've said it a million times. But Wake Forest, pretty good team here. I mean, they shoot the ball really well. They're shooting 47.5% from the field. They're 27th in shooting efficiency in the country. You're talking over 300 teams here. Danny Manning's done a nice job with that club. So that 131.5, it looks low for the most part. And then you see Virginia in the total, and you're like, wow, that's really high. But there's a good reason for it. I think Virginia is going to put up 70, and I think Wake Forest, they're going to put up over 70, I should say, because Wake Forest defensively has not been that great. I mean, right now they're allowing opponents to shoot about 44% from the floor. That's definitely not very good, and they are allowing tempo, but it's at Virginia, so Virginia is going to control the pace. And I think they're going to score efficiently enough to get over 70 points. I think Wake Forest is going to be able to score around 60. So I like over that 131.5. I think they're going to get there. So I'm going to go ahead and back over the total with Wake Forest and Virginia. Quick breakdown. We got Wisconsin, Purdue under the 138. Stanford, UCLA over the 160.5. And finally, Wake Forest, Virginia over the 131.5. Those are NCAA picks for today on the totals. And I wish you luck on your picks today.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.